Wrong button pressed there. In a winner's match, it certainly is. The caliber of play here is quite palpable. Spawning in the top left position of the map, that is Frost. The red Zerg player from Team Evil Geniuses, it is Jaedong. Up against the blue Protoss player from Team Yell Flash Wolves, it is San. So San immediately showing us, as the viewers, as we can see everything that's happening, his pylon. So we know now that San probably wants to do another gateway expand. He used it both matches versus Hyun. And small anecdote to just kind of throw in there, food for thought for you guys tuning in, however many of you there are. Right now, San, excuse me, I believe, is playing from the Korean server, and we're on the American server, so there's a little bit more delay for San than there is for Jaedong. Jaedong is, as far as I know, at the San Francisco house in California for Evil Geniuses, so he has no delay playing on the American server. He's in a pretty nice spot, as it were. So there is a potential for there to be, a little bit of an advantage. You can't discount. It can be harder to get force fields placed properly when you have an extra half a second or full second of delay. But we'll see what he decides to do in this match. Okay. I wasn't sure if he was going to take that second gas. We saw him go for the 1 gas 2 base 4 gate. It was almost pretty much as strong as a 1 base 4 gate versus Hyun on Polar Knight. But more tech based, I'd say. Cybernetics core should start up. There it is. And the gas is being mined. So Jaedong opened up with a pool into hatchery. I guess he's potentially a little bit worried about cannon rush. He doesn't want to take a chance, I guess. I don't know if he's watching the stream before, if he saw the games versus Hyun, if he knows, okay, San likes to gateway expand. But generally, for most Zerg players, I've heard that hatchery first is actually really good versus gateway expands. I personally love to gateway expand myself as a Protoss player, but the probe checks around. I wonder if he'll cancel the Zealot and start the Nexus. Yeah, okay, Zealot gets canceled. This allows him to start this Nexus up a little bit sooner, so he could be a bit greedier, as it were. Zergling's going out to scout as a third hatchery started for Jaedong. I think he's kind of realized he's not super worried about one base play or anything really scary. Zergling for Jaedong's trying to prevent San from scouting, but San will see this third hatchery. Keep in mind, this third hatchery is much later than a double hatchery. If he went for the hatchery before he even built the spawning pool, this is a much slower build than what Hyun was doing, which means that San doesn't have to worry too much about Jaedong being overly greedy. And he is putting out a sentry behind this. I'm wondering if we're going to see a similar setup to that other game. Okay, it's a robo facility, so I will immediately have my question answered for you guys. It's a fast robo. So what we could see out of this is potentially a quick immortal play. With the sentries he's producing, he could actually do a very fast sentry drop and try to force field off the main base and do some damage that way. There's a good number of options available to San. I personally like the sentry drop. It's a bit gimmicky though. I think most Protoss players will say, a lot in the pro scene agree, that sentry drops are a bit gimmicky. They rely a lot on luck. Immortal Sentry play is still popular. I don't think it'll ever go away in the Protoss versus Zerg matchup. But we'll have to see what happens. The Robo Facility is about to finish. He has a good bit of gas. He could get an Immortal. He needs to wait for a little bit more resources. And it is an Immortal. Okay, so very fast Immortal. 2 gateways being added on. And he is mining fully out both these gas geysers, so he's not completely committing into having money set up for warpins. At the same time, the Roach Warren is on the way for Jaedong. He has not really too much going on here, just a lot of economy. He's mostly putting out drones, just now going to get a few Zerglings out. He doesn't have Zergling speed, he doesn't have any other upgrades started. Overlord comes in to get some scouting information. He did see the robotics facility. This is super important. In fact, I wonder if he saw that if it was being chrono boosted out for that Immortal, as San's first Immortal does finish. The lair is on the way for Jaedong. I think Hydralisks are always good versus any type of Immortal play. They have great damage percent. They have just great attack speed, and they can do so much damage. But San moves out his probe, and I'm wondering Is this a situation where he uses the Immortals to get a fast third base, or is this just to build a proxy to go for a big 2-base attack? Some Zerglings for Jaedong come to poke the front. Won't find anything real there. He will check the third base, make sure there's something weird happening here. And the Mothership Core can actually see these Zerglings, so he can position his probe and dance it away from the Lings. I don't know if Jaedong saw that. I think he might have seen it as he passed through the bushes, but there's no pylons actually in production yet. So with a couple extra gateways being added on and a third Immortal, I think this is a sign that San definitely wants to attack, and he is getting ready to push out. There's one pylon on the way. Not really that close to his opponent, but Roach Speed is coming in as well as Metabolic Boost. And this is the point where Jaedong just has to pump out units nonstop. He just needs to get a huge swell of forces, try to get it right on top of this army, use the Zergling Speed to get a surround, force all the force fields out of the sentries, and let those roaches get in close enough to deal with the Immortals before the hardened shields will kill everything. So this is a very tense moment right now. There's a lot on the field here for San. This army is super strong. 3 Immortals are going to one-shot roaches as he's forced Jaedong back further and further. Jaedong just needs time. He needs as much time as possible to just bolster his defenses against this. And there's the Guardian Shield. San's not giving him any more time. The first couple force fields have been placed. He's locking down the openings here. The Zealots coming in as well. Some great force fields. The Roaches and Lings are locked in the mineral line. And San only having to fight half the army at a time. He doesn't care. He's like, okay, well, I'm just going to go into your natural base. Smell you later. Time warp on those Roaches. And San is doing a great job of just never fighting this whole army at its maximum strength. The Immortals are blowing everything to smithereens, and Jaedong being forced back into his natural expansion. The Roaches coming from the right side. Some force fields prevent the Zerglings from coming in, and it's just Immortals versus Roaches. Some of the sentries getting sniped away is very, very nice. The drones being pulled against these Zealots, not an ideal matchup as far as the unit composition there goes. With this Warp Prism, San's just bringing in so much more, and these drones are falling left and right. More Roaches and Zerglings being produced, but as long as he keeps warping in, he's got it. GG San takes game number 1 here in this best of 3 at the winners match for the Daily Motion Cup Group B.